Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burris, owner of eWebStyle.
I am Charles Lewis, your internet marketing specialist.
Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of our incredibly world-renowned podcast. This is podcast number 224. Previous podcast, right there you can see it. Previous podcast was 223, and we have 223, and we have a tip from that podcast. It says, design your site only after first understanding your client's needs.
Yeah, you definitely want to understand what your clients are or what their need is. The problem most people make is that they begin designing the site based off what they like, what they feel, the colors they like, the message they want to put out. And you want to keep that in mind because your site should have your identity of your company. But at the end of the day, it's about the client. What is that client looking for? What action do they need to take when they get to the site? How is this going to benefit them? Answer those questions first before you start designing. That way, when you do design, you can make sure that the client actually gets what they need to when they land on your site.
So it may be the reality that what your client is expecting to find on your site is slightly different than what you want them to find on your site.
Exactly.
So just recognize that there may be that disparity and make sure there's some sort of nice transition over from what they're expecting to see towards what you want them to see. So that is tip from podcast number 223. Please remember, we are your friendly local neighborhood top position snatchers.
Yes.
Where our mantra is,
don't be a douche.
If you can, tweet now. And this is actually, we have an instructive image on our screen here. It's hashtag SEO podcast.
Yeah, tweet us, hashtag SEO podcast. This is number 224. Be sure to tag us in it at eWebStyle, at Best SEO Podcast. That way we can follow you back and do all of our social networking stuff.
Very cool. Also, there's a way you can do us a favor if you like our podcast, like the improvement of our audio, which we're getting a lot of feedback now. Audio's off the charts. Thank you. I don't know if off the charts is fair. Certainly compared to where we were, it's fair.
Matter of fact, I talked to a guy yesterday who called in. He said, man, I need to catch back up. I stopped listening right around 180 something because it was bad. It's like, yeah, that was 50 podcasts ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, so come on back. We fixed it.
And if you appreciate that, there's 3 things you can do. One of them has 3 steps. That is go onto iTunes, create an account, write a review. If you choose to, you can send us an email, podcast@e-webstyle.com. And let us know the review. We'll probably read it on air, good or bad. We're hoping for a 5-star review from you, please. The other thing you could do is you could go to our G Plus local page. We've made it incredibly easy, and we'll probably maintain this level of easiness. e-webstyle.com/Google
Plus.
And also
Google Plus.
And also
G Plus.
And also
G Plus.
You changed it up there. You started with Google, and I was there.
I know.
It's amazing how your brain gets like in tune, used to things, and like, what? Okay.
Your brain thinks that it's wrong. It's not wrong.
Oh, it's just right. It's just different. It's like there's the main loop around Houston. Everyone calls it 610. I want to start calling it 610. Yeah, I got stuck on 610. People would be like, what? Oh, you mean 610? No, 610. The other thing that you can do on our Facebook page, you can write us a review. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/eWebstyle, and you can go right there. You can see the reviews, stars. We're starting to collect reviews. We really appreciate everyone who's gone out there and written a review for us, and hopefully you'll give us a 5-star review. Let's see. Remember, you can get a free website analysis on our website. Actually, one of the emails we'll be reading today, I'll talk about the free website analysis we did for him. Referral program. Give us an SEO customer. They pay their bill. You get paid. That's pretty nice. Any algo cat today?
Any algo cat? No.
No algo.
But I will say this in regards to algo. If you have a Google Places listing, check your email. Because Google is sending out emails for you to have to go in and reaffirm or reconfirm your Google Places listing. They're trying to weed out all of the duplicate listings and all of those fake stuff. And so they're sending an email. And once you get the email, you have 3 weeks from the date that you get it to log in and claim your listing. So be on the alert for that.
Yeah, remember that email that you use once every 6 months? Go check it out.
Yeah, go check it.
Because especially if it's Gmail.
Especially if you maybe you know, if you had an agency on top of this, then there's really nothing to worry about. But let's say you created an email just for that purpose, and then you don't check it, go check it.
Yeah, it needs to be associated with the right thing. All right, so I just got 2 little pieces of news that came up. I thought this was cool. The largest solar thermal plant comes on the grid, and it's partly invested. One of the investors is Google, and it can. They basically said that the amount of emissions it will reduce is equivalent to pulling 79,000 cars off of the streets.
Say that again.
So
the largest thermal plant.
Yep.
Okay.
It's solar thermal plant. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, because thermal plant would be all of them. Yeah.
Solar thermal. And then it's the equivalent to pulling what off the streets?
79,000 vehicles. The emissions produced by 79,000 vehicles per year.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And I think there was a number, and forgive me because I'm going to give you a really crazy range. It's either 35% or 65%. It's one of those two, so it's only
50.
2 numbers.
Yeah. We'll say 50%.
Yeah, we'll call it 50 of Google's energy is from renewable sources. So that's kind of cool. The other thing I thought was cool, and this would just make sense. Smartphones could replace hotel keys.
I could see that.
Right, because you got a near field.
Yeah.
Have you stayed at a hotel with a near field card?
I haven't, but I could see
Makes
it.
sense, right?
Yeah.
The last hotel that I stayed at over in New Orleans, you just held the card there for a little bit, and near field had registered it.
I have stayed over one of those.
Yeah,
Yes, I
so
have.
that's kind of cool.
I was in Austin.
Just one thing before we move on, there are a number of ways that you can contact us. You can follow us and stick with us. You can be sticky. It starts with facebook.com/ewebstyle, twitter.com/ewebstyle. You can watch videos at youtube.com/ewebstyle. And finally, you can send us an email, podcast@e-webstyle.com. Here's a couple of reviews. This first one is from Eduardo Garcia. He actually caught our podcast that we broadcasted late on Monday.
Yeah, he tuned in while we were doing it.
And he had put another review. I just thought it was worth reading this one. Excellent resource, nice balance of educating and entertaining. Thank you. Interesting. He's actually in Panama, which is where my wife was from. So
I had an interesting exchange.
Yeah, we're going to go down in July, and so we'll probably meet up with him because he's not in the main city, Panama City. He's over in a city called David, and we'll probably go have lunch with him.
Cool. I think that may have been the first.
Yeah.
Right, we actually give someone a punch in the face, and then they happen to be logging on.
Yep.
And he was like, he wasn't sure if it was live. He's like, is this live? And we looked at the screen and was like, hey, yeah, this is live. So
it is absolutely live. Next is a 5-star review. It says best SEO podcast. This is by L Wax from the United States.
L Wax.
L Wax.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Entertaining and informative. Great way to learn about SEO. A must for everyone with a website. So
entertaining and informative. Punch in the face to you, L Wax.
Oh yeah, let's make sure we don't forget Eduardo. Punch in the face for you too.
And that's a good thing.
So Mr. L Wax, I'm kind of afraid to punch him. This might come back all waxy or with no hair. All right, next, here's a couple of emails that we got. And so this is Greg Took is one who's a guy who's
face to Greg.
Yeah,
what's up, man?
He's a long-time listener. Thank you for all your support, Greg. His email goes like that, and he may have been one of those guys early on. He was tuning in, and we may have read a review of his while he was on. And again, maybe Eduardo's the first. His email is, I enjoyed a recent podcast in which you talked about siloing content. Mm-hmm. This prompted me to put every page on my website into a category. Do you think having a menu with links to over 50 pages on my site on my homepage potentially dilutes the keyword density of the page, or conversely appears like keyword stuffing, and I wouldn't even say conversely because both of these are bad, keyword stuffing if many of the page titles contain the same keywords? I recently switched to just displaying links to the 4 categories on the homepage and using full page display, no sidebar. Then on other pages I display the full menu and a sidebar. Too soon to measure an effect. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot going on, Greg. Yeah. I think you're walking a fine line between usability and SEO. Right. So from a usability perspective, depending on the nature of your articles, it may be worth having all of those categories over there, if indeed those particular posts can be differentiated by the categories. One thing we're doing right now in the process of condensing categories to alleviate that exact purpose.
Yep.
We're trying to, if there's an SEO related, post, then it's going to go in the SEO category. And I would recommend that you simplify, but I do think it may be worth displaying them. To answer your first question, does it take away No, I don't think so. Especially in the sidebar, Google understands what's in the sidebar. I think those kind of get compared to like footer links. They don't have much value for search engine purposes, but from a usability perspective, they do. And so I wouldn't put 50 category options in your main nav.
Yeah,
that would just be spammy and bad.
And bad usability.
Yeah, definitely.
Just make subcategories. So there are going to be some, and it looks like that's what you're doing. 4 main categories, and then other things could be in their own subcategories within that category. And so then on that main category page, you do see the list of subcategories. So any individual page is only 2 clicks away from your home page. That's you just have to recognize your home page is usually considered the most powerful page to Google across the board, and so anything you can put on the home page, great, that's your focus, and anything as close to the first page you can keep it as possible, great.
I would say this, just quick SEO tip in regards to that. Make sure one of those that post in one of the main categories is the primary, and then redirect all the others. Because what'll happen, especially if you're using WordPress, you may end if you put that same post in different categories, and those categories update your URL structure, then you end up with duplicate content across multiple pages because the URL changed.
Yeah.
Canonical those to one of the pages.
The main one.
As the main one.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So hopefully that asked it. It says that he's really driven bonkers because he was 1 or 2, and now he feels like Jimmy Hoffa. He's on page 2. All right, and then this is Brock Cersei. It says, "Hey, Chris and Charles, love your podcast. Review coming soon. Don't worry. I heard it's not there yet. I heard someone possibly on your podcast one time making comments about robots crawling sites. I got this info, and he sent me a link about block URLs on his Webmaster Tools. Mm-hmm. So he sent a screenshot of his Webmaster Tools, and it was interesting because the Webmaster Tools indicated that there was one block URL. Yeah. And there was only one directory, and we looked at some of our other clients. Like, this is the nuances. Like, okay, off the top of my head, I don't know why, and it didn't flag anything as being missed, as being something important being blocked. And you look at the URL, and basically was skipping configs or something. And so the only difference we noticed was that there was a missing backslash at the end of it. So we're going to add that and see if that makes a difference. He got a free website analysis, just right over the phone. It actually went really good. I think he got some great information for that.
So I think part of his question also asked about how determining if he had any manual penalties or something like that.
Oh no, you're right. There was another one. There was a totally different one that I didn't get on this email. Yeah, we'll have to answer that.
I'll catch you next time. I actually replied to him.
Okay.
And so I'll reply with what I was going to say now, but we'll address it live next week.
Okay, cool. And that is the potatoes of the podcast. It is now time to get to the meat.
Okay, cool. Well, I got a couple Twitter punches in the face. Let's get to those. Punch in the face to the optimizationist. Yeah, it says he's the first time listener on eWeb Style SEO podcast. Looking forward to picking up some good nuggets.
Boom.
Appreciate it. Punch in the face to you.
Hopefully they're like whole turkey nuggets.
Yeah, what he said. I just don't sound that tasty, but yeah, a turkey nugget. Nah,
it does sound bigger.
Nuggets.
It does sound bigger,
a lot bigger. But bigger and not tasty.
Yeah, Better to have a small tasty nugget than a really large disgusting
nugget. Yeah. And then I thought you might cover that news. Yahoo partnered with Yelp to improve their local search.
I didn't catch that. Interesting.
Yeah, so that means their local search will likely begin displaying reviews and things like that. So that's what's up.
So that's interesting. So it's with Yelp, not Bing, which makes sense. I mean, Bing is relatively weak in terms of local search opportunities. Interesting.
Yeah, and then Yelp already had it configured with Bing, and so now it's on Yahoo as well.
I just hope that a lot of people are keeping an eye on Yelp and making sure that they're on board, that they're being legitimate. Like, so we've talked about them before. We've talked about having clients.
I don't know where that came from. just got to thinking about Yelp.
Yeah, so we've got to have clients that have one bad review that's prominently displayed on Yelp, and you log into their account and they've got like 5 good reviews that aren't being displayed at all. And
legit good reviews, like nothing forced, nothing fictitious, like
it's not
legit,
spammy. It's not
legit reviews from real clients.
And the argument is the one bad review that is prominent is from a power user, or whatever you want to call it, somebody who has reviews everywhere else, and the other 5 good reviews are from people who
Only have a couple.
only have one or two, and that's possibly legitimate. It just doesn't feel right, and we've heard other stories about, similar to the BBB. If you pay us, then certain things can happen on your account. So it's a little.
That was a kick in the shin to you guys, Get together.
All right.
All right, so let's get to the meat. Man, I pulled a great article today, man, from one of my favorite locations, man, Search Engine Journal.
Before you go on, Eduardo just joined us from Panama. He says, hey, you guys, he's actually logged in live, and he's feeling lonely.
Feeling lonely?
Make sure you...
Why is he lonely though? Like, it's Valentine's Day today.
Oh yeah.
I can't help you with that.
He's just saying he feels alone in here, in the chat room.
Oh, in the chat. Okay,
specifically in the chat room. So punch in the face to Eduardo. Hey, and make sure you are following our Twitter account, which is twitter.com/eWebstyle. Because right before we podcast, we post that we're about to go live. So that's how Eduardo figured this out. Twice now, and you guys can do the same. So turn in live and ask questions and do other stuff.
We'll try to interact with you.
Yeah, he's clarifying he's not alone because it's Valentine's Day. He's alone in the chat room.
All right, cool. just wanted to make sure because in no way we could help you on the other end.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was at Search Engine Journal, pulled a great article. So I want to give a punch in the face to Joe Castro. We wrote a pretty good article about PPC, and I spend a lot of time in AdWords and doing pay-per-click, so it immediately...
The skill sets can overlap. I mean, the technical details, right, are different. The premises and the making it work well is all interrelated.
Yeah, definitely. And so he says, winning in a highly competitive CPC, high CPC, which is cost per click, paid search environment. That's what got me.
Yeah,
because I'm working on PPC for a flower shop right now, and man, you should have saw her traffic yesterday. I mean, her clicks went. Budget was spent quick, but it's Valentine's. We expected that. We planned for it, but it was just dealing with that made this article pop to me. And so let's dive right into it. I highlighted a few things. He says, generally, in regards to pay-per-click, if the product or service is very inexpensive or low value, then the cost per click will be low as well. And that's true, and I hate it, but that's the truth.
It boils down to an ROI, right? If there's a good ROI, then people will throw money at it. And
indirectly, because the next one he says, if the average cost, if the end product is expensive or high value, then you expect a high CPC. And that's why I say indirectly, because you look at, like, I'm working on an insurance campaign. It don't matter if it's life insurance, auto insurance, whatever, cost per click is
expensive,
is high.
Yeah.
And if you're only selling $29 liability insurance,
auto insurance, but remember,
month to month.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying?
Remember that boils down to the lifetime value of a particular client,
yeah,
right?
So
you're right. If they stayed 6 months, you're talking
broke even.
Yeah, you're talking $120 on a $20 policy. If they stay for an average of 2.5 years, then there's a lot more value, and you can bid a lot more. And it's ROI. What we have clients who come in and want an ROI instant, and we have clients who come in who
understand
frankly are a little bit better, more intelligent business owners, or maybe just more versed, more educated is better, not intelligent, more educated, and they understand that if the client purchases today, that's probably not their only purchase.
Yeah,
right?
They'll come back. You've opened up the pocket.
Yeah, and so then they can actually calculate their per client value based on how long they're going to stay.
So his first tip is have proper tracking in place, and I think this is key because and he highlights call tracking in here, and I preach call tracking to all our clients. But one of the things you must do, especially if you're in a pay-per-click situation where the cost is high, and you really need to track your conversions, spend that extra money on additional call tracking numbers. At times we may use a call tracking number, and I will take a campaign level, or maybe even ad group level. But you may need to take a keyword level depending on the level of competition. Do these things. Make sure your analytics is synced with AdWords, right? That way you can save some time and look at all of those reports and other information all in one location. Make sure if you are sending traffic to an e-commerce site, turn on e-commerce tracking. Like, set that up so you can track spend all the way down to how much money was generated from these keywords and where they came from. That's a very important feature. All e-commerce clients, anybody who's selling something on their site, that's a practice that we take.
Yeah, and you know, I'll tell you what, when you have that data and you start looking at it,
Yes.
I don't know if this is going to sound bad, it's going to sound good, you really feel like a proper business owner, right? Because now you're like, wow, like I know, just knowing that keyword got me a sale feels good. And you're like, well, then we need to focus on that keyword. Exactly. That's why we want that data.
Well, and not just that, we do SEO as well. And so as if I'm managing your campaign and I'm realizing this certain set of key phrases, maybe 2 or 3 of them is generating, 30, 40% of your online sales, then, and we're managing your site, then
max bid price.
I'm going to increase your bid price. Not only that, I'm going to start writing content and we're going to create a whole new page and optimize your site for those specific phrases because
they're valuable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The next tip, he says, be careful with broad match keywords. Duh. Yeah. Don't use them. I won't say don't use them because sometimes you have to.
You'll use them sometimes to kind of hone in what might work. Right?
Or worst case scenario, you're in a situation where just there's not much search volume. And we had a client who just poured a lot of money into the budget and we was like, dude, there's not many people looking for this. And he didn't care. And so, okay, we turn on broad match and try to monitor it to see what kind of clicks Google would give us for that. But normally stay away from broad match if you can. I like this one, a robust negative keyword list. This is important.
Yeah.
It means way too many times we've taken over somebody's PPC campaign and I go and look at their keyword details, right? Look at the keyword details so you can see what you're really getting clicks for. And you'll see, how to and free or jobs or salary.
DIY.
Do it yourself.
There's a good clue that you don't want to pay for that click.
Yes.
Do DIY anything, and especially if you're a service provider.
Yeah, that's on our default list.
Yeah.
Every campaign we have a default list of negatives that we're going to add. Check those frequently, especially if you're on broad match. If that's one of the reasons you don't use it. That way you can kind of automatically weed out some of that other stuff.
Because you can add DIY to almost any of your exact match keywords and know that that's not a good term for you.
Yeah, because if they're doing it themselves, they don't need you. So I like this one here, ride the branded train, right? And so the example he gave was using an MBA degree, somebody searching MBA degree or somebody searching, Ohio State MBA degree, right? They branded the school and that's a more targeted search, right? So I'll give you a local example. Maybe this AC repair. And so maybe they type in a specific brand name like American Standard AC repair versus AC repair.
Right.
And if you're bidding on that, increase your bid on those branded phrases because this person is at least they know the brand they want.
Yeah.
And so it's likely that they have more information and they're already in a purchasing decision.
Yep. They're ready to buy.
Yeah, ride the branded train. I totally agree with that. This one here, I actually left a comment on the blog post because this one is I totally agree with this one. The next tip, he says, exclude close match variations. And so what that means is different from like broad match or exact match or phrase match, your close match variations will allow, Google will show results with like misspellings or plurals and things like that. And if you're in a high cost environment like we're talking about, then you may not want to be shown for the misspelling.
Yeah.
Right? You may not want to be shown for the plural version. But if you have that on, then you will be shown for those, and you can't really control it. And so take that off if you can. Gives you a little bit more control over your keywords. The next tip: increase the bid modifier for mobile. But I like what he said here. Make sure your site's optimized for mobile.
Bid modifier. So what's that?
The bid modifier is a tool in AdWords where you can go in and modify your bids. Is literally what it says. If you want to increase your bids for mobile, maybe you get more conversions from a mobile device. Then you want to bid more and show up higher on a mobile device.
And could you decrease it? So if you know decrease it. Okay, cool.
Exactly. You can even set it to auto do it. And so the key here is to make sure that if you're going to do that, what's happening on the mobile device is what you want to happen. I'll give you a good example. Let's say your marketing funnel leads them down the path to signing up and then getting some email back and then eventually downloading a white paper or newsletter or something like that. Then targeting mobile may not be your best course of action, right? Because those are more desktop type activities. But if your main CTA is call today, or something like that,
Visit us now.
Visit us now, and these people are likely, moving around, then definitely bid higher on a mobile. Make sure your site is, optimized for mobile. Tap to call is the prominent CTA.
Yeah.
And so that way when they do search.
And
directions, exactly. Make sure your address is a link. So if they tap it, it can open up their nav and they can come right to you. So make sure that your mobile site, right, is ready for mobile traffic, and it accomplishes what your CTA is. Let's see here. The next one, bring back customers through retargeting.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, one of my favorites.
I love it. Like, remarketing was probably one of the greatest things since sliced bread.
Yeah.
I love it, especially for the fact that, and he hit the head, $70 a click from a regular paid search. That same insurance click that costs, $28.32. If that person comes back because of a remarketing banner ad that you may have placed, that same click will probably cost $2 or $3. It's like 98% off, just from a remarketing perspective.
To get them back.
So definitely invest in that. Frankly, I set up the remarketing audience script on every account, whether we're gonna do it or not. I just need to start building up that audience because I'm gonna promote.
Man, there's the tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I set it up regardless because at the end of the day, I have this list and I may not ever use it, but we might. And if I'm managing your campaign, we will. But not only that, he didn't talk about the placements. I want to bring up placements here. I use managed placements with remarketing because they may not have been on your site, but they may be perusing sites that are similar to yours. And if those sites happen to be displaying ads and they're in Google's ad network, then I will place ads over there.
Yep.
The next one here, he says bid higher for keywords that show intent.
Yeah.
This is key. Again, back to the AC replacement situation. Somebody's, AC replacement search or quote for AC replacement. I'm going to bid higher on the one who's using quote for AC replacement because this person at least knows they want a quote. They're not just looking to price how much AC replacement costs or see who does it. They're looking for a quote. And so increase your bid on those who's showing some sort of intent on what they want to do. Next one here, he says expand into Bing and other paid advertising channels. I totally agree. It's usually about a 70-30 split. 70% of the budget go to AdWords. The other 30% we'll put in Bing. And if we can't max it out there, then we'll, take it on to Facebook maybe or LinkedIn. It just really depends on the client and what the budget is, right? It really depends on what they're offering. Frankly, they could be, we talked to a client yesterday who is just Google AdWords is just not really going to work for him.
Ever.
But indirectly, like we won't use Google Search Network for him, but I will do remarketing for him. But we're going to spend bulk of our budget up in LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads because that's where his target clients are at.
Yeah.
And then we'll drive traffic there. We'll use our remarketing list at that point.
Yep. And
then that's how we'll use AdWords through Display Network to kind of bring those people back to the site. And the last one he has is use PPC custom landing pages. And this is key. We talked about landing pages and conversion optimization.
We talk about that regularly.
Frequently, yeah. Take advantage of it. Like, don't send all your traffic to the homepage, right? If this is AC replacement, send them to an AC replacement page, not an AC repair page, not an AC tune-up page, not a heating repair page. Send them to the AC replacement page. Frankly, the verbiage on that landing page should be similar, if not identical, to the ad that they clicked on, right? We're looking for continuity. So that way they know they're in the right spot. You have a higher likelihood of closing that deal and getting that conversion.
Cool.
So punch in the face to Mr. Castro. Appreciate your article. I'll tweet this out. We'll Facebook it out. And you guys hit us up. Tell us what you think about it.
Excellent. We've got any what?
We do have a little what.
All right.
What? Yes, that was a good what.
It's like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, this what goes to Microsoft.
Yeah.
So the Windows Phone, they are considering allowing Android apps.
Creating an emulator, right?
Yeah, creating an emulator to allow Android apps to be used on the Windows Phone.
You know what? If I'm a Windows Phone owner, great. I like that because at least I have access to apps. If I'm Windows, just like you said, that's like throwing in the towel.
Just
right?
waving the white flag,
it's
is throwing in the towel,
it's
is saying I quit because I guarantee so many Android apps out there that that they're not. I know they're not going to render correctly. Not all of them.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
the top ones will, but you know.
Not only is it throwing in the towel, it's like throwing in the towel and still holding your gun, so that you get shot.
Yeah, I quit. I was man down,
and it still renders like
because you
crap.
will get shot in
Yeah.
this situation. Because what's going to happen if I'm on a Windows phone and I'm using this emulator and I'm trying to play my app that not rendering correctly? Then what am I going to do?
I'm gonna
Go get an Android phone.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get
I
off
really
of this,
want that app.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off of this Windows phone and go get an Android phone. So
It may not even be good for the app makers, right? Because if it doesn't render well in Windows, you figure the only way for them to complain is on the Android app page. I'm like, dude, we didn't write this for Windows.
Yeah.
You know, get that crap out of here.
So rather than do that Windows, my suggestion to you is spend some money.
Yeah.
Like go find the top 50,000 apps on Android and iPhone for that matter, and pay those developers to build apps on your platform. Maybe offer them some sort of kickback or some upfront something to encourage that, because
And I would go after only business apps.
yeah,
'Cause right
find
now
a vertical, start there.
Yeah.
You don't want to do Flappy Birds, right?
By the way, I left it out of the news. There was some guy who's petitioning for Obama to insist that Flappy Birds comes back.
Yeah, I'm still tripping off the guy who decides to take it down.
Yeah,
like hold on, you went, your game went from nobody knows it to the most popular game out right now. You just took it offline.
I'll buy it. Give it to me.
Yeah, I just don't get that. But
I'll buy it and give you free money.
free money?
Yeah, as soon as I get it back, you can
you
have
go.
10 cents a pop, whatever.
Exactly.
All right, well, this has been our podcast number 224. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for making us the most successful and best listened to, that's not coming out right, podcast on the known universal planets that are
Stratosphere
in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, the coast, it's a lot of
Yeah.
countries, right? What?
76 different countries, and I haven't updated that in a while. So
It's probably like 85 or 90 now. I think.
Yeah. So thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. Again, the best ways to contact us: Facebook.com/
eWebStyle,
Twitter.com/
eWebStyle,
YouTube.com/
eWebStyle,
and email us podcast@
e-webstyle.com.
Take it easy, Eduardo. Thank you for tuning in live. Until the next podcast, my name is Chris Burris.
Charles Lewis.
Bye-bye for now.
All right. I can dig it. Man, my phone was blowing up over here.